Ahoy! The new patch is here, which is in itself good news, but it doesn't just come with good news because, of course not. We're going to talk about the patch a little bit first, and then we're going to talk about what comes after the patch, or doesn't come, or however you want to look at it. But let's begin with what we actually have in the game right now. The first thing that is being added in this patch are leaderboards, as you all know. I tried to look at them today. For me, all the leaderboards are currently still glitched. They're not actually loading the player names unless they're on my friend list. So let's see when that's solved. Invasion is also still ranked by score. I thought they were going to do the same thing as with OPR and use wins, but apparently not. But other than that, leaderboards are leaderboards and I'm done with them. Whatever. There are a few important fixes and changes in this patch though. The first one is a notable fix to players being able to slide to gain extra speed and distance while crouched. Now, this was in itself a pretty funny exploit, to be honest, because you could literally just slide around. As far as I'm aware, you could only do this with your weapon sheathed, so in itself, it wasn't necessarily a combat advantage, but obviously it could be used to travel further distances in things like OPR, and also in a fight if you sheath your weapon quickly. So it was definitely something that needed to be fixed, unfortunately, as fun as it was. They also fixed an issue where players could dive farther than intended. I never experienced that, so I'm not sure what that was exactly. They updated the expedition quest Justice for Dynasty to be one of the final lieutenants in the Dynasty Shipyard expedition. This, I'm not sure, but could be the quest that people use to very quickly get from level 50 to 60 roughly, because you could very quickly basically finish the quest and leave the expedition immediately. It might be that one. That would explain why they put it on one of the final lieutenants now. There are a bunch of random smaller quest fixes here, some quests that couldn't get handed in. And then we also have some weapon fixes. On the hatchet, fixed an issue that allowed players to always move at sprint speed. This I think is referring to when you could throw hatchets and keep sprint speed while doing that. This doesn't make a massive difference, but it would make a little bit of a difference if it's that one. What I'm upset about is that in the same breath, they didn't also fix the delay issue with throwing hatchets that kind of accidentally put you into melee swings instead of allowing you to keep throwing hatchets after using throwing abilities. Lifesteps gets a fix that causes ability perks to not function when using the Balbum Heart Rune. Again, the Balbum Heart Rune is terribly bugged and there are still plenty of more bugs. So yeah, I think they should just solve the Balbum as a whole instead of focusing on individual weapons. Musket fixed an exploit that allowed a second shot to be fired without reloading. Yay, yet another musket exploit. This one I witnessed in an OPR. It was very fun to see. It was not quite as bad as the previous rapid fire, but it was still very painful on the receiving end of it. It was just a double fire basically. So yeah, finally fixed as well. There's also a perk fix, fixed an issue that caused the Purity of Light Life Staff perk to not properly heal targets when a debuff was cleansed. There is now a penalty again for players that quit an in-progress arena or OPR. So you can't just leave in the middle of the match and then just queue again if it's not going your way. The drop rate for Juniper Berries is increased from 50% per loot drop to 100% per loot drop, so that's going to be farmed a bit quicker. That also means the Gypsum farm isn't as tedious. Then we have a controversial one. Removed a total of 28 sarcophagi and a large chest throughout Brimstone Sands to address the global economy concerns. The locations are listed here. It's basically all of the southeast-ish areas of Brimstone that apparently a lot of people were using for chest runs. This has led to a lot of frustration in the community, and there is a response to that. New World developer Tiger Crane said, regarding the removal of chests from certain points of interest in Brimstone, these were removed in order to bring those solo chest runs gold per hour more in line with other routes and activities. Our goal is to keep an equitable balance across a variety of activities in New World and make sure players don't feel obligated to participate in a single slice of content or in-game activity. The aim is to rebalance more options for solo players across Aeternum. The approach in itself is understandable, I suppose, but I think it just comes at a very bad time. People are looking for content to do, and instead, one of the things that people liked doing is getting nerfed in its current value. It may be an economically sound decision, but it would have been nice if it came with something else that people could then do instead. Therefore, I think the frustration around this, considering it's just a few chests, is a lot higher because they didn't really give players anything to look forward to in return. We have a couple of visual fixes here as well, and the Dragon Horde January Prime Gaming loot should now contain loot, and also the Mystic Sting Hatchet should have the right amount of strength now. It had a too low value beforehand. Governors are no longer able to switch their current company's faction, and then there were some other small fixes, whatever. Now, in the context of this announcement, Fen said, "For awareness, we're planning to have combat balance changes on PTR by the end of this month, pending further adjustments." That is weird, because Delacron 13 days ago told us, beyond that we have a pretty big announcement and sizable PTR update, which will follow quick on its heels, referring to leaderboards. So yeah, that's not good. And Delacron got called out for that by Tiny Dancer. He responded, "To be fair, there was a bit of a slight internal delay in order to polish up things to a high quality bar. It means a little more waiting, which I know is pretty brutal right now, but hopefully when details are revealed and trailers released, it'll all make sense. To say more will get me assassinated by marketing." Now, there's one thing about this that is interesting. If they were just making balance changes, there probably wouldn't be a trailer for that. So they have already said in the past that they are planning to do a bigger or more interesting or surprising or exciting update. So what this sounds like to me is that there's something trailer worthy in there, which either means a new weapon or a new expedition, unless they're just planning to make a spring event trailer. I hope that's not it, because that would be very underwhelming at this point, considering the roadmap is indicating that those things should be coming soon anyways, and hopefully we'd see multiple of them in March. But you may remember I did speculate that they would do the PTR launch for the content update in March in the middle of February, and I guess that was actually their plan, only that now it got delayed once again. Well, this didn't get delayed again, but generally it feels like with AGS, content is very often delayed in general. It once again also frustrates me from the perspective that I think, yeah, okay, they are planning to do this big update again, but what if they just had given us small updates sliced up throughout the past month? Just give us the weapon balance changes. For all I care, just give us Bane on ranged weapons being stronger in expeditions. Just anything to give us something new, something different to do. It would be as simple as making ranged weapons viable in expeditions. People would be like, okay, cool. Now I can build a new build, I can try that out, and then later we'll probably get those changes to light armor, and then I can change things around there, and then there will be a new content update and have something new to play as well. So, you know, a steady pace, a steady flow of content. Instead, we have been sitting around doing nothing for month and month and month, only for this supposedly gigantic, amazing update to come in March. Like, at this point, they can't overpromise anymore on this, and I am very worried that it's gonna fall short in some way anyways, because they're overselling it so much. So yeah, I am very concerned. I am looking forward to the content that they're coming up with, but the whole thing is just not how it should have gone in any way for a long time now. Talk some more about what that means for me at the end, but also before we do that, let's have a look at the new skins. This is Kalaych Al, which is 15,000 marks of fortune. For the same price, you can also get Imbolc Links. For 8,500 marks, you can get Leave of Bridget the Wise, a spear skin. For the same price, you can also get Blossom of Bridget the Healer, life staff. Also for the same price, Shield of Bridget the Protector, a shield skin. And once again for 8,500, the Axe of Bridget the Smith. I don't know what the Smith has an axe, and that axe is also a hatchet, by the way. For 3,500 marks of fortune, there's a finger heart emote. And for the spicy 7,500, there's a reel it in emote, where I'm guessing you pull in a fish type thing. You can get the Slosh Dance for 6,000 marks, and the Hard Hands, which is different from the finger heart, for 5,000 marks. For 3,000 marks, you can also get 5 dice. You know the drill with these sets. I don't know why they're still not unlimited in usage. And then there is an armor bundle for 20,000 marks and a weapons bundle for 25,000 marks. To be honest, I can't say that I find any of the skins from this patch particularly appealing. Now at this point, if you want to see future New World content, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you get notified. But I will also say that I am not quite sure what I'll do for an entire month, basically, until we actually see this update. I've worked through a lot of backlog of content, and I'm sure I will find some videos that I have to do. But if there are any things that you'd like me to cover that are not super hard to do and that also won't be outdated with next patch, which is my problem with most of the ideas that I have, then please let me know in the comments. It's very possible that I'll play some other games in between. I'm thinking of maybe having a look at Atomic Heart when it comes out later this month and just talk about something else for a little bit, because I feel like there isn't really that much to talk about in New World at the moment since they decided to stall all of the content. That's definitely not how I would like it to be. I wish that wasn't the case, but it's kind of the path that AGS has chosen to take, and I don't really have a say in that or choice in that. So I hope that is understandable. And I thank my patrons for supporting this video more than ever right now. And thank you for watching. Geeksloth out.